More Politics. I'm your host, Darlene Price, and tonight we're going to cover hopefully 2 topics if my voice will hold out. But before we get started, we want to say thanks to everyone that keeps us on the air for all these years. We're coming up on 15 years. Can you believe that, Michael, man? 15 years. I feel so old. Anyway, we want to say thanks to Steve Hall, our hero, owner-operator of our television station, MBR TV. Dude, you're the man, dude. You keep us... This poor guy, he's been thrown in jail and everything else over this show. And you know what? He keeps us up there. And he don't run commercials either because he doesn't want anybody telling him, what he can and can't do. So you're the hero of the show, Steve Hall and MBR TV. I want to thank you. And, of course, everybody behind the scenes that makes Truth or Politics happen. We appreciate you. And our new listeners, we got some new watchers tonight from Scott County, also from Pulaski County. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And a new couple from Russell Springs. And... well, let's get started. One of the reasons y'all are watching tonight is there's 2 topics we're going to try to cover. The first one is important. Anybody downstream from Bear Creek, which is in Scott County, Tennessee. Okay, why? What happens in Bear Creek is not going to stay in Bear Creek. Okay, Bear Creek flows into Lake Cumberland, which flows into the Cumberland River. What we have is an outfit, and I'm going to get into little specifics of their information, that wants to come into Scott County, Tennessee, and put in a 700-acre plus landfill in Scott County, Tennessee. We are fighting this. When I say we being us at Truth or Politics, the city governments and the county governments of Scott County, Tennessee, McCreary County, Kentucky, McCreary County Tourism jumped in. We're hoping that we'll get some support from Pulaski County, because you folks up in Pulaski County, this could actually potentially destroy Lake Cumberland and everything downstream. So this is a big deal. Okay, so what has happened is, and let me go into why, because I know we got some new people that don't understand what leachate is. This is Reader's Digest version. All landfills have what's called leachate. What is that? It's the liquid stuff. All landfills, when all the stuff gets thrown in there, it rains. All of the toxins that is on this stuff, that has to do with forever chemicals, PFAS, C8, asbestos. Some of them even have hexavalent chromium. That's the Aaron Brockovich case. All of this stuff, when it rains, it flows through, and all those toxins are released into the liquid form, and it's called leachate. It leaches out, hence the name leachate. The federal EPA requires that stuff be trapped and that it be disposed of properly. Okay, what's been happening, and I cover this in a story in my new book while no one's watching. There's a story in here about the mayor of Somerset, Mayor Keck, and I'm going to get into him in another aspect in a minute here, where he allowed in well over 60 million gallons. My estimate is closer to 70 million gallons, but we'll say at least over 60 million gallons of leachate to be brought into Pulaski County, ran through the Somerset wastewater treatment plant, which was highly defective. Numerous violations. Right into Lake Cumberland. Well, into Pittman Creek, which flows into Lake Cumberland. This was a disaster. We got it stopped. When I say we, the citizens of Pulaski County showed up. And thank you for that. The citizens of Pulaski County showed up, raised hell like they should have, and we got it stopped. Okay, so, what's that saying? Jaws, and it's what, the 150 years old anniversary of Jaws. Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, here we go again. We're involved in another fight. And this is regarding a huge landfill. Now, this landfill, this isn't just our little local trash around here. He's going to have a rail station there, and his proposal, he is going, and I posted his proposal previously on my Facebook pages. His proposal has where he's going to be bringing in rail. He's going to be bringing in trash from all over the country. 700 acres is a huge landfill, and it will create billions and billions of gallons of leachate. Currently, the existing landfill down there is already getting some violations. That's not good. And by the way, TDEC, that's the Tennessee Department of ecology, I think, and something. It's like their version of the Kentucky State Water District, the State of Kentucky Water District, TDEC. They notified no one about this, about the existing landfill having a leachate problem into the water system. So we already got a problem that nobody notified, anybody of. The cities didn't know down there. So what has happened? What has happened is our municipalities in Scott County and McCreary County have joined forces. They have created basically a government coalition. I forget the name of it. They've got a fancy name, but it's a city and county coalition to fight this. They've hired a lawyer. This lawyer is an expert in stopping this kind of thing, landfills. She's been successful before, and they're all going to split the cost. Okay, so that's already been done. Also, what we had was our own McCreary County Tourism Commission. They have signed a letter, and thank you for that. You guys are heroes. And let me just read a little bit of this, because this little letter and these couple paragraphs really, in effect, explain the problem. The McCreary County Tourism Commission hereby issues a formal vote of non-support for the proposed landfill and development in Scott County, Tennessee. Our county is our home to some of Kentucky's most treasured natural culture assets, including the Big South Fork Scenic Railway, which operates as a concessionaire to the National Park Service Big South Fork National River and Recreation Area, the Daniel Boone National Forest, and the abundance of outdoor adventures offerings that draw visitors from across the country. Tourism is not only growing part of our industry, but it is the cornerstone of our local economy, providing jobs, stimulating small businesses, generating essential revenue, and community development. And you could say the same thing about Pulaski County. This is real. This letter could read Pulaski County, same thing. So they're saying this is a harm: environmental degradation, risk to groundwater contamination, and leachate discharge can harm the pristine natural areas visitors come to explore, including rivers and waterways, and that attract visitors. Economic harm to local businesses, lodges, reputational risk. The presence of a new landfill undermines ongoing marketing and branding efforts that position McCreary County. Okay, so that's some of it. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Great job on this, and thank you for doing that. I'm hoping that other tourism people will jump in.
Now, this 700 acres, it's expanding on the current 40.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's already in violation.
Right, and so it's going to be more than 700 acres, and I'll get into that here in a minute. But it's not only, you call me a tree hugger, but, Big South Fork is our tourism, it's our animals. If you care anything about these animals around here, our bears, we have elk here, they're going to drink this water. And it's our drinking water. Our drinking water comes out of Lake Cumberland downstream, as Pulaski County does, from Bear Creek. Bear Creek runs through this landfill. That's the potential disaster. Okay. What else has happened is the citizens have gotten together, and I am so proud of them. The group that's formulated this, I've never seen. These people need to run the federal government. These girls that run this, they organize faster than any organization I've ever seen. They already have an email account. They already have a nonprofit status. They've got, and I've posted this on all the websites, on my Darlene Price page, on all the Truth or Politics pages. It's called Cumberland Clear. And, hopefully you can see this. Cumberland, this is their little logo. And why did we create Cumberland Clear? It is a nonprofit for Tennessee corporation that will serve as a long-term interest of landowners, taxpayers, and residents of the region. Formed to board and incorporate, they've already hired an attorney. They've already incorporated, created a website, started raising money, and they're asking you to join and challenge. So this is what, because I'm getting overwhelmed with email messages, and that's a good thing. I'm not complaining. Thank you. I have been contacted by hundreds of people who are interested in this. How do we help? How do we stop this? Well, here you go. They've got to organize. Go to www.cumberlandclear.org. And again, I've posted this little thing that they have. It's like a little, not a movie, but I don't know what you call it, just a little thing of what they're doing, an outline. I've posted this on all my Facebook pages with the show tonight. Go into the comment section and you'll see it. Okay. Also, their Gmail address is cumberlandclear@gmail.com. cumberlandclear@gmail.com. Again, www.cumberlandclear.org. Here's their phone numbers if you want to help. They need donations. They need help. They need people to volunteer to do stuff. Okay, 865-594-6035. Again, 865-594-6035. Or they already have a 1-800 number. Again, I've never seen a group of people get organized so fast and so efficient and expertise in my life. These girls, and there's a couple of guys organizing this too, you guys have done an amazing, I'm not easily impressed, and I'm impressed with this. I am. Okay, their toll-free number is 888-891-8332. I say again, 888-891-8332. Okay, the current landfill area. Currently, it's 800 plus acres because the proposed 860 acres plus the original landfill that they're taking over. The total is going to be right at about 1,660 acres. Folks, I can't even begin to tell you how big that is. Okay, we have a landfill. Us in Scott County, we use that landfill. It's 40 acres, and that's enough. Okay, they're going from 40 acres to 1,660 acres combined with all this property they're going to do. That's huge. Again, they're not just, this isn't just our local trash. They're going to bring in from rail from all over the country. Okay, and I know, you say, not in my backyard, where are we supposed to put it? Well, here's the thing. These landfills, they can treat this leachate. That's the liquid byproduct that I was talking about. And by the way, if you want to learn more about leachate and landfills, the story in this book, we've done a documentary too. Please go to YouTube. Type in Lake Cumberland, What Really Lies Beneath. And just put Darlene afterwards. Lake Cumberland, What Really Lies Beneath. I'm not going to get into all the biology and the chemistry and everything else on what leachate is or what PFAS is or anything else. We've already done it. The documents are there. It's too long, the documentary is. Watch part 1, then part 2 really gets into the documents. Okay, why is it so long? Well, because when you're making an extraordinary accusation, you have to have extraordinary proof. And we were trying to get the leachate stopped in Pulaski County from going through their defective wastewater treatment plant into Lake Cumberland. And again, we got that stopped. The citizens of Pulaski County, brave people, got that stopped. I'm hoping you citizens in Pulaski County will rise up against this, because this is equally deadly. Potentially a disaster. Something this big. Okay, so it's 2.6 square miles, the equivalent of the entire town of Helenwood and Jacksboro of Tennessee. Probably what that would be is almost as big as, is the city of Somerset, probably. Maybe not that big, but we're talking a lot of 1,660 acres. That's a huge landfill. Okay, let's be clear. What's on the record? Here's the owner-operators. And by the way, this, what I'm reading from, these people at Lake Cumberland Clear, or Cumberland Clear, not Lake Cumberland, Cumberland Clear at gmail.com. These folks put all this together. They have got their crap together better than anything I've ever seen, this organization. Okay, what are we talking about? Transrail Waste Station. Okay, the owner-operator is Knox Horner and a guy by the name of Jim Ayer, also known as Ackerman, also known as Adair Realty. They're a landfill management real estate investment firm. Okay, so we're also talking about, this is the smaller landfill, Roberta Landfill 2. That's owned by Steve Phillips, Gina Phillips, Mayfield Brown, and Mark Blakely. They currently own a 15-year-old inactive solid waste permit. And I want to talk about that. What this guy, Knox Horner, and these people are trying to do is they're trying to piggyback on a 15-year-old inactive solid waste permit that is just, it's not good. You know, to go from a 40-acre permit or whatever, from something 15 years old, much smaller, to this giant thing, TDEC should not ever approve this. At this point, TDEC is holding this permit. They have not given Mr. Knox Horner any permit. Okay, at the last meeting of the government coalition, that's the communities, your cities and county, and Scott County, your government, and your McCreary County Fiscal Court, there was a meeting, their first meeting. They got organized. They also hired a lawyer. Knox Horner said, "Oh, the permit's already been issued, and we're breaking ground in September." People called up and and verified, no, he doesn't have a permit. That permit has not been let to him, so it's being held at this point. My concern is, and the concern of both coalitions, the civilian coalition and the city-county coalitions, is if this permit gets let, it's going to be way harder to stop. So we need to stop this now. Okay. Okay, so the Robotic Landfill Phase 2, they're selling 100 acres between landfill and Highway 27. So this is real close to Highway 27. Okay, Bearcat Industries, that's like a subsidiary of the owners of this landfill. That's owned by Gary Brewster, David Brewster, Joe Potter, Mike Matacote. Owners of the land permitted and land designated for transfer station. This is where the trains come in. This is how we know, and he said it. He's going to bring in trash from all over the United States. Okay. Coalition. The counties so far that have joined this coalition are the coalition County and City of Oneida, the City of Huntsville, the City of Winfield, the City of Scott, and McCreary, and the counties of Scott County and McCreary County. That's the government coalition that has joined this. The Scott County Solid Waste Board, they haven't joined the coalition, but they are some of the decisions makers. And here's who I'm talking about. The Tennessee Water District. They're called the Tennessee Department of Environmental and Conservation. I keep forgetting those two words. TDEC, Tennessee Department of Environmental and Conservation. The commissioner is David W. Sayers. I am highly suggesting that everybody watching this tonight go on the TDEC website. Okay, it's Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. TDEC for short. The commissioner. Email, fax, whatever. You guys need to be calling TDEC and telling them we don't want this landfill. I think that would help big time. The elected officials to these government agencies are saying no. It was unanimous in McCreary County, unanimous in Scott County, and all the municipalities down there. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm hoping very much that everybody will join in the fight and help us stop this. Again, you people up in Pulaski County, you need to call your fiscal court, your county judge executive. You need to call your mayor. Well, your probably mayor will be a waste of time because he's the one that brought in the leachate up there. But your city council of Somerset, everybody downstream from this, especially the Pulaski County Fiscal Court. Your county judge executive and your magistrates. Find out who they are. Call them. Tell them they need to join this coalition. We need to get this stopped. Again, let me give the information again. It's www.cumberlandclear.org. And it's called Cumberland Clear the Gmail is cumberlandclear@gmail.com. And I'm going to give these numbers out again. Here's how to contact. This is a civilian coalition if you want to help. 865-594-6035. Again, I say 865-594-6035. The toll-free number, 888-891-8332. That's 888-891-8332. And I can't express enough how important it is to stop this. Again, if you want to know more about leachate, landfills, we did a whole documentary. Go on YouTube. It's called Lake Cumberland, What Really Lies Beneath. everything you need to know about landfill leachate, how poisonous it is, how carcinogenic, all the stuff that's in there and why. And it's also the story of Mayor Keck is in my new book, While No One's Watching. So go ahead.
Has he already purchased the current
Yes.
landfill?
Yes. So he says, at the last meeting, he said, the permit's been issued and we're breaking ground in September. Well, he doesn't have any permission from anybody in TDEC that we know of. Now, this is the TDEC people saying this. They're holding this permit. He does not have permission from TDEC to do any of that. And we're fighting that. So hopefully he won't get permission. But according to him, the fight's over. And it's not. It is just not. So that's just incorrect information. Okay, so on to the next thing. I posted this is the new stuff I've posted on Meerkat. But first, let's take a little trip down memory lane. For those who have been following this story, and again, this story too, Mayor Keck's Expenditures is in this book. And what he did before. Let's go down memory lane here. From 21 to 22, and it was about a year, maybe a little bit over a year time frame, we did an open records request. And again, it was a struggle to get records, but we got them, okay? And these were the expenditures, and I'm not going to go into all these details. This is the last one. Details of what he spent. And keep in mind, these expenditures, the last one, and we're going to go into the new ones, which I've posted. All you got to do is look in the comments section, click on it, and you'll see all this money that he spent and where he spent it and what he spent it on. But 21 and 22, we posted that, and just the trips to Louisville. I'm just going to get in where I added it up. Trips to Louisville alone. Again, this is like within a year and a half to 2 years, if not even 2 years. He spent $3,022 just the trips to Louisville, and he met and he's staying all of these trips at resort hotels. He's staying at the Marriott. He's staying at what's some of the other ones? He's eating at Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse. I mean, it's just ridiculous where he's eating, how much he's spending. Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse one night, $229.74. This is on the old one. Okay, so trips to Lexington, numerous trips to Lexington. Again, within like a year or so time frame. Total $4,151. Again, eating at high-end restaurants, staying at Marriott resorts. Okay. Trips to Northern Kentucky, $1,297. Vegas. Is this Vegas? Yeah, Vegas. This is important because we got more Vegas trips on here. Total trips to Vegas, $284. Richmond, Kentucky, $482. Ashland, 200 something. Bowling Green, 698. Frankfurt, 974. Washington, D.C. He likes to go to Washington, D.C. and spend your taxpayer money. Let me be clear here. On this last go-around, not the one I'm getting ready to show you, this last go-around that I'm going through right now, 21-22, we specifically asked, did he reimburse anybody for this? And the answer was no. So this was your tax dollars he spent at luxury hotels, resorts, where he spent it. Okay, and again, Bowling Green, 698. Frankfurt, I already hit that. Washington, D.C., all over Washington, D.C., 1,631. And again, this isn't just hotel. This is Uber rides. This is high-end restaurants, okay? And why is he taking Ubers? Well, maybe he's, I don't know, maybe because he doesn't want to drive after he goes to these high-end restaurants and spends hundreds of dollars. Let me give you an example. Marriott alone, $562. Pikeville, that's not too much. Danville, I'm skipping a lot. I'm just hitting the highlights. Danville, $529. Trips to I combined Alabama, Georgia, and Texas. Because why is he going to Alabama, Georgia, and Texas? $2,440. Again, all high-end hotels, Renaissance hotels, resorts. Trips to Florida. Marriott Key West, Florida, $838. Marriott Tampa Bay, Florida. These are resort hotels, $1,900. And of course, he's got all the hotel bar, $122, all the Uber rides. Then he's got Spring Hill Suites, Naples, Florida. A total, just the Florida eating and resorts, $3,467. Again, this is in less than 2 years he's doing this. Trips to Nashville and Knoxville, $349. And Corbin, $350. His total spending, and again, this is 21 to 22, was $20,000, $668.84. Over $20,000 at a resort hotels and high-end restaurants. Okay, now go ahead, Michael.
How would Las Vegas play in to Lacey County business?
Wouldn't it be nice if you could ask him that? Okay, as you all know, for the ones who've been following the show for a while, Mayor Keck, what happened is I posted this. As soon as I posted this. Now this is not the new stuff. This is the stuff that's in this book. I posted this. Then there was a city council meeting scheduled. So I appeared at the city council meeting, and I was going to ask him all about these expenditures, right? How do you justify this? Well, this really nice lady got up, and she was very professional. She was, she goes, look, I just have some questions about your spending. You're saying that we don't have money for, for EMS, and she couched her question real good, and he cut her off. Because she was going to ask about these expenditures, and he talked to her like a dog. And finally, she just gave up and went like this and sat down. So I knew he wasn't going to answer me. Okay, and right after that is when he passed wasn't long after that, he passed the thing, if you have to be a resident of Somerset which, we have property in Pulaski County. Anybody who has property in Pulaski County, you have vested interest in what Keck's spending too, okay, in my opinion. So we have lake property in Pulaski County. So unless you're a citizen living right there in Somerset, you can't even ask him any questions about this. So that's not transparency. That's being a coward. That's right. I'm calling him a coward. You talk about a coward. He doesn't want to answer this. So we brought this up several times on shows and asked him, what's your answer to this? What's your answer? Crickets. He's never answered for this spending. He's never come up with anything good. So this is 21-22. So now, before I lose my voice, now we're going to get into recent. And again, Mayor Keck, if you're watching, and I know you got people watching, come on the show. Explain it. Explain people about this spending, because, and let people ask you, not just you don't get to just say whatever you want to say and then go on. Okay, you didn't answer anything about this. People need to be able to fire questions at you, at your answers. Please, have the guts to come on the show. Which I know you won't do, but you have the guts to come on the show. Have the guts to answer some real questions. Or let me come to the city council meeting and answer and fire some questions at you, which we both know you're not going to do, because, you're a coward, in my opinion. Okay, so Mayor Keck's spending, December 2024 through current. So I did another open records request. And the reason I did this, will become very clear here in a minute. I did an open records request from December to current, which would have been, at that time, I think June 2025. I think I stopped in June 2025. Let me look. April, May. I know it goes through May 2025. So December of last year to May 2025. Okay. I'm just going to go through the highlights of this. This is posted currently in the comments section. Go to the Truth or Politics page, or this page that you're watching. If you're watching this right now, just scroll down. This is posted. You can look at this yourself, okay? And anybody wants to come to the office here, you're welcome. I'll give you a copy. I'm not going to go into all the little peeny small things. It'll take too long. But let's just start, December 31st. He's at the Courtyard Marriott in Somerset. He spends $126. 31st of December at Chick-fil-A in Somerset, $244. And January 1st, Sonny's Barbecue in Somerset, $234. He sure is spending a lot of money, your tax dollars, eating out. No, by the way, I almost forgot the most important thing. One of the reasons I did this is y'all in Somerset just got your occupational tax raise. So if you didn't know that, surprise, your tax bill went up. Here's why. Mayor Keck and his city, and you know, the city council needs to be held accountable for this too. They raised your occupational tax. They have done nothing to rein in his spending, except for two. You got Ricky Mitten and Jim. Oh gosh, I got a brain fart. Jim, you know who you are out there. The city council. You got two city council members, and I'll remember Jim's name here in a minute. I am so sorry. I can't believe I forgot his name. Anyway, you got two guys really fighting Mayor Keck, okay? Two of them that really stand up against him at the meetings and everything. The rest of you all are sitting quiet. So you voters out there, your city council, you need to be getting a hold of them and saying, what up with this? You raised my occupational tax, but you're letting him spend this kind of money. Because that's just, you know, unless it's fine. If this is fine with you, then, you know, turn me off. Turn your television off right now. Turn Facebook off. You don't have to listen to this. If this is fine with you, for him to spend this kind of money at resorts and eating at high-end restaurants on the taxpayer's dime, if you're fine with that, then just, you know, you don't have to listen to this. Okay, so I'm down to Lexington Marriott, 8 January. Also, when you look at this, look how much he's gone. He's gone all the time. You know, he's gone a lot. He's in Lexington, he's in Louisville, he's in Vegas, he's all over the place. Guess where, you know, if he's gone doing all these resorts and spending money, then he's not in Somerset doing his job, in my humble opinion. Okay, so Lexington Marriott, $273. Renaissance Hotel, Arlington, Virginia, $223. $51 just for valet parking. And this is all this trip to Virginia. Sunoco, 62. Shell Oil, Beckley, West Virginia, 61. Resident Inn, Washington, D.C., downtown, $347. This is all starting in January 14th, runs through, actually, the 18th of January. So he's there. He's in Washington, D.C. for several days. Now, if he says this is I'm there for a conference. Well, conferences take place in one location. You know, he's not in one location. He's at the Residence Inn in Arlington. Then he's at the Residence Inn in D.C., spending $347, parking $63, Ubers $19. Then he's at, got a bunch of Uber things, you know, probably $100 worth of Uber charges going here, there, everywhere. Sunoco, Washington, D.C. Then he's in Rosewood, D.C. dining room. He spends $312 at the Rosewood, Washington, D.C. dining room. Then he's at the Renaissance, Washington, D.C., $63. Uber, $128. Uber, $108. This is all January 20 through 21 January. Kebab Palace, so he's still there in January 21st. Crumbs, Richmond, Virginia, and then Uber, $20. Renaissance Hotel, Arlington, and the 21st, $51. And the Sheets, Morgantown, West Virginia, $58. Still, we're at the 21st of January, so you know, that's several days. I'm not going to hit all these. Then he's back on January 27th. And he comes home and turns around and leaves again. And he goes to Marriott downtown Louisville and spends $326. And I'm leaving off the cents. I'm being nice. Then he's at the Chartle Grill in Somerset, $135. Then he's at Marriott Louisville again on January 28th, $326. Spends Riverside Parking, $14. He's at the Cullen Oak, that's probably a gas station, $15. All in Louisville. This is all the January 25th. And the 30th of January, then he comes back home. Then on the 30th of January, he spends $132 at the Urban Stillhouse in Somerset. You know, I know there's folks out there, you can't afford to take your family out to eat to like a local regular restaurant, much less that $132, that's about what it costs for one meal at this place. This is high end, maybe two meals. We'll give him maybe 2 meals, $132. But, you know, you're getting your taxes raised. You can't afford to take your family out. But here he is at the Urban Still House on January 30th, spending $132. Okay. Then he's at TST Carson's Food and Drink in Lexington for $159. And I'm skipping a lot of this. I'm skipping, for those of you who are not looking at this for whatever reason, I'm skipping all the 68, 73, tons of money in between. I'm just hitting the highlights. Then he's at the Spring Hill Suites Marriott, Frankfort, Kentucky, $247. And he might be able to explain Frankfort, Kentucky. That, you know, that's our government seat and everything. Maybe he's there doing some government business. But then he gets his billing cycle from his bank account billing cycle for this credit card ending January 28th, January 25th is $2,419. That's a lot of money. Okay, so again, I'm skipping a bunch of small stuff. Then he does an online credit payment, $1,178 on 21 March. Okay, so then another FB&O. This is an account balance, 25th of March, $1,178. These are his credit card expenses. These that the city of Somerset are paying now. If he has paid any of this back, and I said this on the first time, look, I want to know if he's paid any of this back, and the answer has been no. We don't have an answer back to this yet, but I'm sure it's no, because they would have told us, oh, he paid it back. They would have been rushing to tell me that, okay? So this is your tax dollars. Okay, so Spring Hill Suites, Frankfurt, another $247. Urban Stillhouse, this is 28 March. Remember, he was just there on the 21st, I think it was. Back again on the 28th, $214. Again, I'm skipping all the little stuff. Marriott Resort in Lexington. Is that another resort in Lexington? $199. And in between this, he's filling up with gas. We're talking $50 to $70. My understanding is an exhibition or something that he's driving, that the taxpayers are paying for him to go back and forth to these resorts. Okay, so another FB&O account billing cycle. This is the credit card. Another billing cycle, $644. Tony's of Bowling Green. He's in Bowling Green. That's supposedly another high-end restaurant, $273. Okay, so now this comes into, no, not yet. I'm putting this here. Okay, so then he's at Spring Hill Suites in Bowling Green, $132. Spring Hill Suites in Bowling Green. He's got two bills from Spring Hill Suites in Bowling Green, both on the 27th. One for $132 and one for $127. So, I don't know if one is his bar bill or, why has he got two different rooms? So they're both for the 27th. I don't know. And wouldn't it be nice if we could ask him that? Okay. He's got House of Beauty in Somerset for $19. Anyway, Charred Grill in Somerset, $71. Marriott Resort, he's back in Lexington again. This is 3 May, $165. Longhorn Steakhouse in Somerset, only $26. I shouldn't even brought that one up. Okay, here you go. 6 May, Southwest Airlines, $548. Where'd he go? Don't know. Let's see. Boxcar. Okay, Charred Grill, 12 May, $111. That's a lot of money at Charred Grill. And then here we go. And this is one of the reasons I asked for this. The whole reason I asked for all this is I got a contact from several of my confidential sources. I believe my confidential sources are telling the truth, okay? I believe them. As you all know, on the 16th of May, Somerset got hit hard by a tornado. Okay, a lot of damage. It was horrible. Got hit on a Friday night of 16th May. Now, I want you to keep that in mind as I'm reading these expenditures. On 16 May, Mayor Keck is at the Hilton Hotels, Kentucky. Doesn't say where, but I got a feeling it's in Louisville. $122. 16 May, Delta Airlines, $566. 16 May, Delta Airlines, $19. 19 May, $1,700, ICS New York. 20 May, $48 Uber. 21 May, $24 Uber. 22 May, front desk, Las Vegas, Nevada, $286. Now, I was told by my confidential sources that while all you good fine taxpayers up there in Somerset are suffering through a tornado, my confidential sources tell me that Mayor Keck's in Las Vegas. That's why I asked for this. Well, I think that they know that if that's true, and would it be nice if I could go in front of the city council and ask him, is this true? And if he says, no, it wasn't me, I gave my credit card to an employee, all right, let's produce room, because she's got to check in, she's got to have her driver's license. Where's the rest of the document showing that it's her and not you? Because here's what happened. I'm sure that the city attorney and Mayor Keck, somebody told him, this don't look good. If you're in Las Vegas and you don't bother coming back while everybody's suffering through a tornado, that's going to look horrible. So what happens is, I get with this information, and by the way, this posting has all the receipts, okay? And you can see all the Ubers and everything else while somebody's in Vegas, okay? Now, let me read you this. From Leslie Acre, sent Friday, June 13th, 2025. Okay, now keep in mind, this is June 13th, after the trip. So they know there's something wrong here. This don't look good. So then this email's generated after the fact. Not before, after. Okay? And it says, receipt for KTIA spring travel from conference lodging. I used the mayor's credit card due to tourism credit card having fraud charges that led to cancellation of the credit card. In the interim of not having a new tourism card in the office, I had to utilize Mayor Keck's credit card. Okay. And that's and they're showing that apparently they're trying to show or make it look like she's the one that went to Vegas on his credit card. That's what the appearance is here. Okay, here's the problem with that. If that's true, then you got another problem. The city mayor handed his city credit card to an employee and said, here, go. I don't know if that's acceptable. I don't know if that's some kind of fraud. We're going to find out, because I'm submitting all of this to the Attorney General's office for an investigation. Because here's what happened. Either Mayor Keck went to Vegas and you all paid for it, and you all suffered through a tornado and he didn't bother coming back until, 22 May, or, after the tornado, 19 May, 22 May, looks like. And that looked bad. So either that happened and it looked bad, and he got an employee to basically manufacture an email. Oh, it wasn't him, it was me. If this happened, this has got to be some kind of fraud if they did this, okay? Now, or he really didn't go to Vegas, and my confidential sources are wrong, and he handed the city credit card to this employee and said, here, go to Vegas. I don't know which is worse. Either way, this ain't good. This doesn't look good. It does not pass the smell test. Now, what would be nice is if someone could appear before the city council and fire questions about this, and follow-up questions. Because anybody can come up with a lie and come up with it quick. Come up with a story, which I'm sure he will do, or not. He didn't bother coming up with any stories with this the last time. He spent, what was it again? A total of over $20,000 in less than a little over a year, and traveling. I'm talking resorts and Key West and everything. He never did answer for that. And when one lady tried to ask him, he shut her down. Never had to answer for that. And the city council never made him be accountable for this. Okay? And you guys just got your occupational tax raised. So I don't know how to make him accountable for this. Somebody should. I would love to appear before the city council and fire questions at him. And when he comes up with some kind of lame answer, fire more questions, because that's what needs to happen here. And since he has passed a ruling that you have to be a member, a Somerset resident, I can't appear to fire those questions out. So, Mayor Keck, you're invited to come on the show. Come on the show, counter me, show me, and bring documents with you that prove that you were not in Vegas. That prove that this woman was in Vegas and not you, while everybody else is suffering through a tornado. And, okay, again, let me go back to the expenditures. So, $286, front desk, Las Vegas. Okay, and then on 25 May, it shows the FBO, this is the bank account cycling, ending April 28th, 2025, was for $1,041. And then again, the FBO billing cycles, FNBO, this is his credit card billing cycle, for ending in 5/28/25, that would include the Vegas trip, is $443.59. So, I'm just going to say this. I know it's real cool that the General Lee jumped over the fountain and everything. But General Lee jumping over the fountain in Somerset does not justify this kind of spending. Not when you just got your occupational tax raise. Not when, it was about a year ago, he said we can't pay for EMS. We can't pay for emergency services. The city of Somerset can't pay for emergency services. But they sure can pay for high-end resorts for Mayor Keck all over the place. For now, we're looking at a total of 4 years, maybe 3 years, close to 4 years, all this spending. I think that the citizens of Somerset and Pulaski County should make him accountable for this. Why Pulaski County also? Well, because, guess what? Pulaski County, you citizens had to absorb some of the costs for EMS now. Because he said they couldn't, city of Somerset couldn't pay for it. So yeah, this is affecting you. I don't know what else to say other than this. This is bad. This is real bad. And again, I covered this. The first set of this is in this book, and we covered it on the show. And all you got to do is hit the link. You will not only see the accounting of where you spend it first, but keep going and you'll see the actual receipts. By the way, nowhere on these receipts does anybody have any other name other than Mayor Keck on these receipts. So I think it's suspicious at the very least that this email came out again on June 13th, 2025, after they know that this looks bad. If he is in Vegas while everybody's suffering through, at a resort hotel, suffering through a tornado, and he doesn't bother coming back right away, I mean, he should have never left, As soon as he got to Vegas, surely it was all over the news, He should have turned around and came back. Or he gave his credit card to a city employee. That doesn't pass the smell test either, I tell you what, you citizens out there, walk up to Mayor Keck next time you see him, and say, by the way, I need that credit card of yours too. I got some bills I got to pay. I got some travel I got to do. So just hand over the credit card. It's my taxpayer money that you have on that credit card. Just hand it over and see what his response is. See how quickly he reacts to that. Anyways, so I know you guys got a lot of questions out there. Feel free to email me, because I know recently people are private messaging me on Facebook, and they're afraid to do that, private message me. My Gmail address is legaldarlene@gmail.com. Legal, LEGALDARLENE, no dots or anything, @gmail.com. Feel free to email me if you're afraid, because, I know a lot of people are afraid to speak up or stand up against this. I know you all are, this is infuriating to you. From the time I posted this a couple of days ago, I think I posted it, last Thursday? I think it was last Thursday. I have been getting inundated with emails and Facebook private messages. People are really pissed off about this. And rightfully so. You should be. You should be able, the citizens up there should be able to question this. Here's the other thing. Where's your newspaper up there? All the newspapers in McCreary County, Scott County, they're all talking about this potential disaster of a landfill. Articles. Eugenia Jones has done an amazing job. Please go to the McCreary County Journal, read her articles. Shane Gilreath out of Scott County, Tennessee, has done an amazing job. One article after another over this landfill stuff. Where is your Pulaski County newspaper? Why aren't they covering any of this at all? And why aren't they covering any of Mayor Keck's expenditures? You know, the old ones, the last ones from 21-22 have been posted. They didn't bother questioning him, asking him any questions. Hey, what about this? Can you explain this? Because he needs to be explaining. No, they haven't. And he never did explain this. So let's see what he does about this new one. Let's see what the explanations are. Or if we get the same kind of crickets, you don't have to explain nothing. He's arrogant. He can just, I don't have to explain nothing to you. I would really like to have a chance to appear from the Pulaski County or the City Council, Somerset City Council, to be able to fire some good questions at him about this and about some of the receipts too, and just the look of some of these receipts. So, go ahead, Michael.
You're paying county taxes on the property that you
Yes.
have up there, so
I
it
know.
looks like you would have a voice.
No, if you're a Pulaski County citizen, and even though all of this affects you, and yes it does, if you don't have a Somerset address, you cannot go in front of the Somerset City Council and ask questions. He passed a rule for that. Needless to say, not coincidentally, after the first time, we busted him with the first expenditures that just don't pass the smell test, which again, he never answered for. So yes, Pulaski County citizens, you should be able to appear before the Somerset City Council and get an answer about this. You should also be able to appear before the Somerset City Council and say, why aren't you joining this coalition to keep us all from being poisoned from this landfill? You guys should be able to appear in front of the physical court and fire questions. What is the physical court? What's our county judge doing about this landfill? What's the magistrates doing? Oh, by the way, now the physical court or county tax dollars are having to pay for some of the CMS stuff. How about, what are you guys doing to rein in Mayor Keck's spending? You doing anything about that? These are all questions that need answers. The last time we did this, we got no answers. And the one very brave lady, and she knows who she is, she's watched tonight, thank you for trying. She got up there and tried to ask questions about his last expenditures. He was awful. He got real red faced, he got hateful with her and just shut her down. And never answered about any of this. So, I think he needs to answer for this. I'm assuming you guys do too. Maybe you'll have some good answers. I'd like to see them. But when you have these good answers, you better have some documents to back these answers up. Okay? If you're just doing tourism, and that's what you're doing, you're going to D.C. and spending, a whole week and all that money in D.C. at several different resorts. Where, when you're doing a tourism, you're going to these conferences, where's all your conference paperwork? Why haven't you submitted that? Why haven't you showed anybody that? You didn't last time. We asked about that, It has to do with tourism. Where's your pictures with your little, your lanyards and everything that you're at a conference promoting tourism? Where's he at and behind a little desk with, Pulaski County or City of Somerset? Where's any evidence that he is promoting tourism other than his mouth, if that's what he's saying? Again, he didn't even answer the last time. I got a feeling that's going to be his answer this time if he answers. Oh, I'm promoting tourism. Okay, what other evidence other than all the money you spent? What other evidence do you have that you were promoting tourism? Where are your documents? That's what he needs to cough up. So, go ahead, Michael.
Who in Las Vegas does he think that he's going to get to come to Somerset?
I don't know, but he's been out there, 2 or 3 times, and spent a whole lot of money, and and a lot of Ubers. So, like I said, if his answer is going to be, well, I'm promoting tourism. Oh, okay. Where's your documents? Show me some pictures. Show me something. Come up with something. And, oh, by the way, if you start posting pictures and you send us some pictures to legaldarlene@gmail.com, we have some experts to look at those pictures to see if they've been, monkeyed with. So, and this girl who supposedly you gave your credit card to, and that's who went to Vegas and not you while everybody suffered through a tornado, where's her documents? Show me where she actually signed a signature into a hotel. There's documents for that. If she went to a conference out there, where's the conference photographs? Where's the documents? Show them. Show me the money. Like that. Show us the documents, okay? Make your case. Otherwise, what I suspect is we'll hear crickets again. Or better yet, change your ruling. Let people from Pulaski County who own property in Pulaski County show up and ask questions. We are close to the end, folks. Again, thank you so much for sticking with us. And please, 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 I know the Mayor Keck thing it pisses you off, but the bigger concern, way bigger concern than Mayor Keck spending, to be quite honest, is this landfill. Please, 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 let me say it again. Go to this website, www.cumberlandclear.org, or if you want more information, you can Gmail them, cumberlandclear@gmail.com. Please get a hold of these people. We need help. We need to get this stopped. Thank you so much, and thank you for watching. Thank you for MBR TV and all the folks behind Truth or Politics. We'll see you next time. Thank you.